Well, thank you for allowing me to speak with you guys today and talk about my what's passionate to me, which is mortgages. There's so many areas in the mortgage world that I like to talk about. I'm trying to think, what would you find interesting? And I'm thinking this is the most LCD, the lowest common denominator. Credit scores. Everybody has them, and everybody wants a higher one, right? So if you could, take one down and pass it around. And this is going to talk about what a credit score is, how to get a better credit score, how to get credit reports, the impact credit score is going to have on you with not just mortgages, but really so many different areas of your life, be it a job, your credit card rates, things of that nature. So, more of a casual conversation with you guys today. Now, I'm going to begin with, does anybody here know what makes up a credit score? No idea? Pay your bills on time, absolutely. That makes up the largest portion of your credit score. But it's only 35% of that credit score. Okay? So 35% of one's credit score is made up on paying our bills on time or not paying them on time. The second largest portion of one's credit score, which is 30%, that is your balances that you carry. It's the balance on your credit cards versus the limit, okay? And in other words, let's say you have a $100 limit on a credit card, and you carry $90 balance on that thing. That's going to impact your credit score in a negative way, believe it or not. Ideally, where you want to be on a credit card is they're going to tell you 30% or less. I'll tell you, ideally, 10% or less if you can do it. And that has such an impact on your credit score. People come to me for a mortgage, and they're 40 points beneath where they need to be to get a credit, to get a mortgage. And I can tell them, pay down your credit card to this exact dollar amount, and that'll get you 42 points. And it does. Has a big, big impact. Okay, what is the third largest portion of one's credit score made up of? And it's really right here on page 204. You guys will see it. The third largest portion is your credit history. How old is my credit? Okay, do I have credit cards from years ago? And if you do, that's good. Just keep them active. How many people in here have closed out credit cards that you just don't use? You know, if you have an old credit card, you're like, it's just, Bill's done that, okay. I've done that, and I know there's probably others in here that have done it as well. Because you're probably thinking, I don't use the card, why keep it open? Less risk of identity theft, somebody taking an old credit card from Leroy's Jewelers, if you remember that. Yep, I had one of those. So don't close those credit cards, guys, because if you do that, you're impacting your credit score, and you're impacting it in a negative way. Don't do that. All right. The types of credit makes up 10% of one's credit score. What type of credit do you have? Do I have a variety of credit, meaning credit cards, installment loans, and automobile loans, right? That's a variety of credit. That's what you want. Okay, you don't want to be top-heavy, if you will, with all credit cards, if you could avoid doing that. A good variety keeps a healthy credit score. And the last portion of one's credit score, which is 10%, all right, is those darn inquiries, right? Remember, you'll go to the mall during the holidays. You see it all the time. There's a long line of people saying, "You mean if I apply for a credit card right now, I get an extra 20% off?" It's great, right? You just save 20%. But if you're getting a mortgage, that may just cost you a lot of money on your mortgage. So be very cautious in doing so. Okay. Now, let's talk about the impact of a credit score and a mortgage, since we just touched on that. Okay, and it's huge. Now, credit scores today. If you look online or you read some of the brochures that are coming out right now, technically they're going to tell you that you can get a mortgage with a credit score of 580. Wow, I've been doing loans for a long time. It's very difficult. If it is available, but a 580 has to be like a fluke score. In other words, it has to be, well, can't have any late payments in the last 12 months, can't have any collection accounts. Well then, who has a 580 and doesn't have late payments in the last 12 months? Nobody that I know. So, but let's talk about the credit scores. 640 is an ideal score to get a mortgage today with an FHA mortgage. A 640. All right. Now that's not an old high credit score. That's the barrier of entry, if you will. Now, let's say you come in with a 640. What impact does that have on you versus somebody that has a 740? Well, first of all, you're probably going to pay slightly more in closing costs for having a lower credit score, right? Your rate is going to be slightly higher too. Now, an interest rate increase for a lower credit score, it's not just the $50 a month that it's going to cost you, because that just may not seem like a lot for a slightly lower credit score. But you look at that over the life of the loan, month after month, year after year, that slightly lower credit score could cost you thousands of dollars. So healthy credit is so important. What about something called PMI? You guys have ever heard of that? Private mortgage insurance? They look at that credit score. And I'll tell you what, if you have a lower credit score, you're going to pay a great deal of more money in PMI than what this guy would who has a slightly higher credit score. So credit scores are important. What can we do? How do we know what our credit score is? And what can I do to help you? Well, first of all, everybody's entitled to a free credit report once a year. Do you guys know that? Does anybody know where to get that from?
Free credit score.
Karma.
Credit Karma?
Yep.
Credit Karma, free credit score. What do you say, Bill?
If you want your complete credit file from all three bureaus, go to myannualcreditreport.com. You can get all three there, the complete, that shows all your files so that you can go through and dispute anything that's wrong or whatever.
And Bill, once again, you are correct, sir. On page 3, you'll see that as well. It'll tell you exactly where to get your credit report, all right? Not only can you request it online, you can call and get it as well. Now, that credit report that Bill just referenced, it's not going to include your credit scores, though. Okay, he may have said that. It's just going to be the credit report from the 3 major repositories, being Experian, Equifax, right? And what's the third one? Correct, correct. Now, somebody said Credit Karma in here, and I think I heard a third one as well. Those are great tools, but here's the thing with that. Well, first of all, Credit Karma doesn't have all 3 bureaus. But did you know that credit scoring has different revision levels, if you will, okay, of credit scores? Like TransUnion has like an 04 model, scoring model, right? And then they have, I think, an 08 model. What scoring model are you getting when you get these credit scores? Probably not the same one that we're getting in the mortgage industry. So have you ever heard, or if it's happened to you, you ever pull a credit report and then you call a guy like me and I've got a completely different credit score? That happens all the time. That's one of the reasons why you're not getting the real FICO score, all right? So it's something to discuss. Now, when should somebody look at their credit report if they want to get a mortgage, okay? Don't wait till you want to get a mortgage to look at your credit report. Be proactive. Get that free annual credit report. Get that. If you know you have credit issues, call us anyways. And you know you want to be buying a house in the next 12 months, give me a call. I can run that credit report for you. Now, I'm not a credit repair guy. But what I can do is run an analysis on someone's credit report and tell you exactly, step by step, what you have to do to get the ideal credit score, to increase it. We have the capability now where if I pull my credit report, and let's just say my credit score is a 642, but I want to get it near 700, I can run an analysis on my report and yours, and it will tell me, pay your Chase credit card down $72 to a balance of $346. It'll tell me exactly what to do, and that should get me 22 points on my credit score. And it's got a margin of error by a couple points. But that's pretty cool that we have that capability, right? Well, the problem is, if you wait too long, and then you're right in the middle of a purchase agreement, you've already signed it, you gotta close on it in 30 days, and we see you have a lower credit score now, all right, what are we gonna do? We're going to try and run around and scramble to get your credit scores up. Thank you. But it might be a little too late. You got to close in 30 days. So being proactive is so key. It's going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars here. How many people here have a credit score? How many people here want a higher credit score? Well, there you go. Come on, guys. Let's work on this together. And here's something else. 20 years of lending. Okay, this used to happen early on in my career. People would be like, "Oh, geez, I don't want to go to Sean because we know him." And I'm embarrassing my credit score. Don't be embarrassed of your credit score. Guys, bad things happen to good people, okay? We know that. I mean, come on, we just had a 4-year-old little boy that just passed away, right? I mean, those medical expenses are gonna be ridiculous for that family. I clearly get that. I have people that are wealthy that have poor credit scores and people that don't really have much and they have poor credit scores and everything in between. Things happen. Guys like me lean on me and use my expertise to help you get that credit score. There is no judgment being passed here at all. And as a matter of fact, I have an interest in helping you. You guys are all friends of mine. Okay? So if you have friends of yours that want to get a better credit score, and they may not know they want to get a better credit score, but trust me, they do when they get a mortgage, let me help them. I'll tell them step by step, and it doesn't cost you a dime for that. Was that, Johnny or Wayne, was that my? 1 minute? Okay. Does anybody have any questions on credit scoring that I can address this last minute? Yes, sir.
Sean, why don't you point out, you and I have had experience where people pay bills that were past collections.
Absolutely.
And it actually makes their score drop. Can
Correct.
you touch on that?
Yeah, a common sense thing. One would think, you know, I got that old cable bill. I owe them $72 from my old apartment when I was in school. I'm going to pay that off right now because I'm going to get the ideal credit score because I'm getting a mortgage tomorrow. Don't do that. And I'm going to tell you why. This doesn't make sense, but it's the reality of the credit world that we live in. Activity, derogatory activity. An old collection account is a derogatory account, correct? Okay, it's just sitting out there. Well, it hasn't been updated or reported. The minute you make a payment on that, or you contact that creditor, okay, you're causing activity on an old derogatory, they're gonna change the last activity date on your credit report. So they're gonna bring that old derogatory, even if you paid it, okay, they're gonna bring it current as of September 8th. Well, what impact is that gonna have on your credit score? It's gonna drop your credit score like a rock, okay? Because you have activity on a derogatory account. Now, I'm not telling you not to pay it, I'm telling you don't pay it right then. When you're getting a mortgage, I'll coordinate it and there's a way to do it properly. Now, if you're not going to be applying for a mortgage or you're not going to be getting a new car anytime soon and you want to make those payments to pay those off, you can do that because you're going to drop and then you're going to go back up. But if you're in the middle of a mortgage, you're applying for a mortgage, don't pay that until your lender tells you to do that. Let him get your credit scores first and then he'll coordinate, he or she will coordinate that. Bill, that was a great point. Great point on that.
Good job, good job.
Okay, yes ma'am.
It might be a stupid question. What about medical bills?
Medical bills still have an impact on one's credit score, okay? Now, there are some legislation going through where the medical bills should actually be isolated from the credit scores, but it hasn't happened yet. So it'll still impact you, and it'll have the same impact as that cable bill would.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, sir.
How quickly does it take to get that change? Like for it to go up, do they just, it's an ongoing thing?
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
just keep-
Organically, it'll go up. See, here's the thing, though, Ron. It's not each creditor does not report to the credit bureaus, okay, in a timely manner. Sometimes, and if it's a derogatory account, they may not even report to the credit bureaus. So even though you paid it, they're going to mail you a letter saying that this account has been paid. And then when I look at your credit report, I'm going to still show that you owe it, right? If they didn't report it, and then you're going to ask me to go ahead. Well, how do I get it up? And then I got to go ahead and contact the credit bureaus. So it's kind of it's not an answer I can give you. I can't tell you it's a definitive 30 days, you know, because each creditor is different.
Sure.
If I get the credit score rescored, I can have it done for you in 72 hours. I can produce evidence that the account was paid, and then I can work with my creditors to rescore you. But that's an in-depth conversation on that. Is that, I think that's it? Well guys, thanks for letting me present credit scores to you today.